question that someone back asked. Do you do you still collect, and do people know you're a collector? Have you acquired a kind of reputation? Do people approach you being like, I was a faculty artist, you should buy my work?
No, I've never been approached like that. But people there's a certain group in Oklahoma that deal in this particular arena of art, and we all know each other, and we all talk to each other and deal with each other and buy from one another. It's kind of a circle almost.
Yeah.
And you know, I try not to get anything that I don't appreciate. I was at Ron's, and Ron's got a boneyard in his backyard. He's known for his ceramics, for his pottery. He's got a graveyard of pots, and I felt like a rescuer because he had a couple of pots back there in his boneyard, and I said, Ron, that's beautiful. What's that doing back here? It should be. So I grabbed them, and he let me have them, and I felt like somebody rescuing a little puppy or something.
What's left are your walls? Do you have like this whole other surplus of things that are now up and you're rotating your work? Or?
Well, I really wanted to paint, so that's why I repaint my house. So while it's out, I'm painting.
For real.
It's a mess.
Well, it's funny because one of the questions from someone out there was, as a collector, did you feel an obligation to share the art you had collected with the general public?
Thank you for answering my question.
So it wasn't altruism; it was the need to redecorate.
Well, no. You don't know me very well because I'm very spontaneous. So it just, I saw those empty walls and I thought, well, it'd be a good time to paint. That's the way I do things. So that's what happened. So I thought, well, I should paint while it's gone.
Yeah.
So I decided to paint. So I painted. But yeah, I would love for Oklahoma artists and Oklahoma art to catch on, and for people to see the beauty of it, and the diversity, and I know it won't appeal to all people, but there's really, really, really good stuff out there. Really great pieces. And, you don't have to own a Picasso or Alexander Calder, to have a wonderful piece of art.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all this with us. I noticed that you have really a familiarity with all the professors here, and yet you still, Mr. and Mrs., you are very formal yourself. How does all this feel for you, like being approached and asked to show the gallery? How, as a museum piece, was it something of your idea, or were you approached for this? And what's it all like?
Well, it was just kind of like everything else in my life. It just kind of happened and came together. I somehow, Louise and I got in contact with each other, and we talked, and we talked about doing a show. It was really her idea, and until I came here tonight, because today was the first time I actually saw it hanging and on the wall, and it was hard to keep from being emotional about it because it looks so good, and there's so many people that appreciate it and enjoy it. I didn't realize that it would have the effect on people that it has, but I'm real pleased and happy, and would love to be able to share it again and again. So
Thank you again for sharing.
yeah, okay.
Asked about your, I think Chris asked about your house, and we have devastated your walls, but when you are collecting and you're choosing where to put things, we have a question again from an audience member. When you display your art, how do you decide what goes together? Do you play sort of home curator and mix and match, or do you just have space that you fill? How does it work?
Well, I have, talented people to help me arrange that sometimes, but with me, it's just kind of finding a space on the wall and hanging it up there. But
Why would you say that your passion for collecting or your passion for art is greater?
that's a tough one.
That's a really good question.
Well, it's all kind of the same to me. But art has taken a prominent place in that. I didn't know much about art. When I got my first piece, it could have been a framed newspaper print, and I wouldn't have known it from oil on canvas. I mean, so when I bought that piece, it started it all. And it was a Brummett Echo Hawk piece. Probably some of you know Brummett or know about it. And it's a pastel, and it's his first wife, Marion. She's nude from the waist up, and her back's to you, and she's putting a ribbon in her hair. And I just fell in love with the piece. And I really had not noticed the beauty so much in art until I acquired that particular piece for some reason. And that's why I say that it's the piece that started it all, because it kind of opened my eyes to beauty and art, and it just kind of took off from there. So
I wonder, as a collector, and I struggle with this, can you have too many pieces by one artist? You know, you can just, I mean, I think you have probably hundreds of McVickers, I'm sure.
yes.
Is there just a point where
Well,
those, or you're gonna...
And I just, I just made a commitment to another McVicker piece recently. So,
But as you go down and you're collecting all these, you're discovering hundreds of artists along the way. I mean, would you buy every piece you find by these people? Or?
no, I wouldn't buy every piece I find, but if I saw one that I really liked, and I had
But you wouldn't get rid
hundreds.
of your old one if it was better? Or...
Well, and I do that some.
That's what's hard for me to get rid of stuff that I do it. I figured because it's just you can get too much.
Well, and I can't, you can only, I sold 2 pieces recently that I really didn't want to get rid of to buy another piece. And the other piece didn't come through. I wasn't able to buy it. So, and I hated, I hated to sell those, but that's what you have to do sometimes to acquire something that you really want. You've got to let something that you're attached to go to get another significant piece, especially if your heart's in a piece. It's what we pay for it. It's hard to draw that line. I mean, you have to let pieces go sometimes to get other pieces, and sometimes you can have too much of one person, and you have to pare down and pick that favorite piece and let some others go. But if I had the resources, I don't know that I'd ever let any of them go.
All right, we are totally out of time, so I'd just like to say thank you once again.